My next guest is going to be fighting middleweight champion Sean Strickland in the main event of UFC 297 in Toronto, January 20th. It is right around the corner. At least it feels that way. It is Dricus Du Plessis joining me here on the program. Dricus, how are you, sir?
Man, James, great to talk to you. Feeling absolutely great. The stars have aligned once again, and order was restored. The title fight finally came, and I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
When did you find out? When did you find out this was official? This kind of came out of nowhere, I think, for a lot of us in terms of what we were hearing behind the scenes, and you get the shot. When did you actually find out?
Well, I mean, for me, I think the world found out on Monday, about a week or so ago, and I found out the Sunday evening. Mr. Hunter phoned me. He said, "Listen, will you be healthy and ready for January for the belt?" And I said, "Well, 100%." He said he was still on the plane, I think, from the Sao Paulo event, and he said he's going to be sitting down in Vegas in about 2 hours, and then he'll talk to the team. But that's what they're looking at. Will I be ready? And I said, 100%, I'll be ready. And the next day we got the news that it's official.
There were a lot of forces behind the scenes, it seemed, that were trying to prevent this from happening. I'm sure you saw the comments from Israel Adesanya's coach saying that the title shot was slipped away and that you took this for granted. Does this make this title opportunity that much more satisfying because there were forces sort of, implying that this wasn't going to happen?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one thing that happened. I think I tweeted it perfectly, saying that fumble never looked this good. Because obviously, with the UFC, the show must go on. I mean, I missed that opportunity to fight Adesanya for the belt, but it was out of our control. It was something that just couldn't happen. I mean, I was injured. I had a 7 weeks turnaround. It really was not possible. It was a much bigger injury than we originally thought. And I'm not gonna start my camp injured and train for a world title fight like that. But when you turn down a fight, the UFC must go on. They must go on. And I mean, here Sean Strickland stepped up and he took the opportunity and he made the best of it. He became champion. But, having a guy like Adesanya talk and say, "Listen, this is not how the game works." His coach saying, "Listen, you fumbled. You are not getting the shot anymore. You took it for granted." And then, getting the shot. That's what I always say. I say things are going to work out the way it should. And him manifesting things has not been going well for him.
The other thing as well is that there was a lot of fan support. I would do videos myself. I would, do live streams. A lot of people were rooting for you to get this shot. And I think it was sort of the general consensus that people wanted to see this fight with you and Strickland. How much do you think that helped as well? Because it seemed like the UFC did take that in consideration, going, this has got to be the fight we got to make.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, once again, that's where I have to thank all the fans worldwide. Not only the South African fans, obviously for them, they were rooting for me. They were really wanting to see me fight for that world title, making history in South Africa. But worldwide, the fans were absolutely incredible. And I think what sealed the deal for me was the fact that the way that Khamzat performed against Usman, on a short notice, fighting a welterweight for a middleweight title fight, that did not make sense to me at all. I understand the fact that they gave Usman that opportunity because he took a fight on short notice. He took that fight and he performed so good. But, I think that performance from Khamzat really sealed the deal for me because they saw that, at middleweight, he wasn't this force just fighting against almost retired welterweight. But, big ups to Usman. He fought brilliantly. But then, of course, like you said, the fans that started, all the fans were just, after that fight especially, they knew what was the thing that needed to happen. They knew that I deserved that title shot and that I was the true number one contender. And no matter how the UFC wanted to spin it, no matter how, obviously they could do whatever they want. And, that's rightfully so. Obviously Khamzat would have massive hype. He would, a lot of eyes on Khamzat, but he did not deserve that fight, that number one fight. And I know he was injured or couldn't take the fight on short notice. And, the fight came right back to me. And thank you to the fans. Thank you for all the people that went out and said Dricus is the number one contender. I think that plays a massive role because at the end of the day, this is entertainment, and you have to give the people what they want.
What did you think though of Usman calling you out after he lost to Chimaev? Did you see that?
I did see that. I saw that. I think it would have been an amazing fight, but I think at that stage Usman still didn't. He thought that Khamzat is getting the title shot,
right?
And
okay.
So, that doesn't make sense at the moment. But down the line, I think Kamaru Usman is an absolute legend of this game. I think he is probably he is definitely one of the GOATs of the sport. And if it works out that way, I would love to share the cage with him one day. If it makes sense. I know him and Whitaker, that fight is in talks, and that would be something really impressive to see. If how Usman holds up at the middleweight division with the top of the pile against a guy like Whitaker. That would be absolutely cool to see. And if it works out the way, I become a champion and he becomes a contender to fight Kamaru Usman would be absolutely amazing. I have the world's respect for him, and it will be an honor to share the cage with him.
It's your first time going to Toronto?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you excited? I'm sure you've heard things. It's like basically the New York of Canada, if you haven't heard. So.
Okay, I have not heard that, but I am excited. It's where I'm from, we don't see a lot of snow.
Right.
We don't get a lot of the weather is not too cold. So I used to fight in Poland for KSW. So I actually love this now. I love the cold weather. I love the can you go and ski in Toronto?
Oh yeah, you can, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to go up to where the mountains are, but yeah, it's you go to like Blue Mountain or something, which is like maybe a couple, it's nearby, but no skiing in the city. There's no mountains there, just a bunch of skyscrapers, right? So,
oh yeah, well, I mean, that sounds great. I'm definitely doing that after the fight.
There you go. And I should mention as well, I don't know, because I know you're a rugby guy, but Toronto Maple Leafs, the NHL team, they're not playing that week. You're there, but the Toronto Raptors are the NBA team. So if you wanted to watch an NBA game, the Raptors are playing that.
Oh, week. The Raptors! I know the Raptors. I know that. Like, I don't know NBA that well. I like the jerseys; it looks cool. But I know the Raptors. I actually, one of my friends. I know the jersey. That's pretty cool. I'll definitely go and check that out. That sounds great.
Yeah, you should check out their schedule. There we go. Going into, you mentioned Sean Strickland and him getting the title shot. Going into that fight with Adesanya, him replacing you, how did you expect that fight to play out? And what was your reaction the way it did play out? Because I think for a lot of us, we're like, wow, I can't believe this happened.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see it play out the way it did. To be honest, I honestly thought Strickland had no chance. I honestly, but that's shame on me because just before that, 7 weeks before that, I was in the exact same spot where I was facing Robert Whitaker, and I know Strickland himself said, "Listen, Dricus is getting pieced up by Whitaker," and now I obviously didn't back him against Adesanya, and he went out there and he proved me and the whole world, I think, wrong. So good for him. He stepped up to the plate on short notice and he made it count, and that's what this game is all about. When you get an opportunity and you take it, make it count. He had incredible BMT in that fight. He went and he showed that he had that calmness to him. He didn't get overwhelmed to fight Adesanya's fight. He stuck to what he knows. And I still believe that Adesanya had a very, very off night, but Sean Strickland did what Sean Strickland does, and he did it incredibly good on the night that he beat Adesanya. And that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. It doesn't matter the losses you have. It doesn't matter who you fought, who you lost against. If you show up on that night and you win, that's the only thing that matters, and how you perform on that night. None of the previous performances matter. What matters is that he came in there and he absolutely demolished Adesanya and became champion, and rightfully so. I think that was an incredible performance, and I think that was great. I think it was good for the sport. I think it was good for the division, because this is almost now the new era of the middleweight division.
How do you match up against Strickland stylistically? How do you look at his style compared to yours?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a much. No, I think people know it's going to be an entertaining fight. I can honestly tell you this: I've had great performances, and I've had not so good performances in my career, in the UFC and out of the UFC. There's been fights where, even though I won, I wasn't happy with how I performed, and there were performances where I fought great, but not one of those performances, good or bad, was ever not entertaining. Never had an unentertaining fight in my life. And with Sean Strickland, he's had some fights where it wasn't that entertaining. But if you go look at the way he fights, I don't think it's his fault always. I think the guys, they try to, because he puts so much pressure on, they try and evade the pressure. And that leads to fights where there's not a lot of action. But, when you get me and you get Strickland, you get two guys who's not afraid to stand there and bang. And you get two guys who's not he doesn't like to fight backwards, and I promise you, I'm not fighting backwards. So that's all you need to know. That's how the game works. If you get two guys that's fighting on the front foot, who likes to put on pressure, you're gonna get a clash in the middle of the cage, and we'll see who goes down.
Anything different for this camp, or is it just business as usual, training with your usual partners back at home? Any cross training? What's camp looking like going into this?
Yeah. Camp, same old. We have obviously we try and better ourselves every single fight and every camp. I want to be better every time I step foot in the octagon, and my team as well. I have an incredible team. Obviously, over the holidays, doing a fight camp over the holidays. Christmas time, everybody had some holiday plans. Everybody was going to go away, but we sat down as the whole team, and said, "Listen, guys, well, it's going to be worth it because it's not only me who's been working for the belt for the past 10 years as a professional. It's been the whole team, my coaches, my teammates, my sparring partners. All these guys are working, has been working just as hard as me to get us to the point where we're fighting for a world title." So everybody's plans were cancelled, and the whole team, and that gives me a sense of responsibility to go out there and make it worth it. So the camp is going to be, it's camp as usual, working hard. We try and bring in more professionals every time in terms of recovery, in terms of the conditioning. Try and better ourselves every single time, even if it's just the smallest thing. Like I said with the Whittaker fight, and now even more so, no stone will be left unturned. Every single thing that we can do to step in there and become world champion, we will do.
Do you bring in anyone specifically for Strickland, or it's just a good variety of opponent training partners to give you all types of different looks?
Yeah, I have a nice, good variety of training partners. We are definitely bringing in some guys who are more prone to more boxing stance. Obviously, he has his shell that he uses, and try and mimic that. And we have a lot of good boxers, pure boxers in South Africa and around the area that we train in, and we are definitely bringing in some extra guys for the boxing, and all the help that in South Africa. That's one thing, because it's not such a massive country for fighting yet. All the help we can get in terms of getting people in the whole country, like from all over the country, getting specialists in every area of MMA. And that's what we're doing. And the bigger the sport gets, the bigger we get as a team. And me fighting for a world title, people are so willing to help. And this is just a statement to what our country brings. We bring the unity. We bring the fire. We bring that we know one of our boys is going to war, just like our rugby team, just like our cricket team, just like all of our sports people. When one of them go to war, the whole country gets behind them, and we want to see our people of South Africa succeed. And I can't even explain to you the amount of support that we've been getting, and people just offering help. I'm talking about wrestling champions. I'm talking about grappling champions, boxers, kickboxers, all these different people from all over the country that are specialists in one area, just wanting to help. It's incredible.
Speaking of your team, how's Cameron Saaiman doing? Tough fight against Christian Rodriguez in his last one. I'm sure it's going to be weird you not fighting on the same card as him either.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing good. He had an operation. He had a burst eardrum. Also had a very badly broken nose that he had to get fixed, and he did that. So this is good. I mean, he's never felt defeat in his whole life, even as an amateur. When I was still coaching him, he doesn't know what it feels like. But no, the one thing is, you can tell a guy like Cameron, whatever you want. I know what it feels like to get that first loss, or just to lose. It feels, especially when you put in the work that he does, and that we do. We go out there to win every single time. And what I said to him was, don't think about fighting at all right now. Think about, because right now you are so angry with yourself, and you are thinking about that loss and how bad you feel because of that loss. And I told him, he'll know when he's ready to go in there and go again, because when you stop thinking about the loss and you start thinking about the next win, that's when you know you're ready. And he has such a strong mind. He's 22 years old. Getting that loss, I told him, my first loss was local. It was local. It's embarrassing. His first loss was on a 3-fight winning streak in the UFC at the age of 22. That's incredible. I mean, I don't even consider this loss. I don't even think it has any effect. He's such a young talent, and there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to be a champion.
As far as getting to Toronto, are you going a bit earlier just because it's on sort of Eastern, Eastern Canada, which is also Eastern as well? Do you have your itinerary yet, or are you still figuring that out?
Yes. I think we're going out. I'm going out. We're going to try and go out to like 18 days before the fight.
Oh, cool.
Because
okay.
it's just hard, because that's one thing, with New Year's and all the whole festive season happening, getting around the flights and making sure that when we're flying out. I think if we can fly out around the 2nd of Jan, that would be perfect. I think that's what we want to do. We're going to go out close to 3 weeks before the fight. Get climatized. We are from Africa. It's not that cold here.
Yeah, for sure. And the time difference as well, too. Early prediction on the fight. How do you see the title fight playing out?
I honestly think, it's the first round's going to play a big role in how this fight ends. I think this fight will end with me getting my hand raised with the belt around my waist. There's no two ways about it. But, the first round's going to play a big role because, yes, I know it's a 5-round fight. It's different. But Sean has had a lot of time in 5-round fights, but people forget that for 5-6 years, I was a champion in every promotion I fought. And I only fought 5-rounders for 5-6 years of my career. That's the only thing we prepared for. And ever since then I've never stopped preparing for 5 rounds. I didn't start preparing for 3 rounds. And I know 5 rounds, it takes longer, it's longer. But I mean, against Whitaker, it was such a high-paced fight. In that second round, I wasn't even at 50% in terms of my cardio. I felt amazing in that fight.
Yeah. So and that I'm sure had to do with the surgery too. I mean, that's something we talked about. I think going in, it seemed like you were a completely different fighter.
Yeah. I mean, and everybody could see it. It was so evident. And some people saying maybe Dricus started taking it seriously. That's not the fact. I've taken this career seriously from the first day I've ever stepped foot in a ring. And it's just we had to make some adjustments. We brought in some new people in terms of the strength and conditioning. Made it more scientific, make it more measurable. And that's what I say. Every time we step in there, we learn, we win. Even if you win, we learn, and we try to be better. And we brought in some new people with the conditioning, and it showed. It worked so well. And then of course the surgery, the breathing, it's like having a oxygen tank on my back. It felt great. After that first round, I could see Rob breathing heavy. I could see Rob looking at me like, wow, this is a fast pace and this guy is not slowing down. And when the second round came, I felt, now I'm going. In that first round, I was still just feeling out. In that second round, I started going and I felt incredible. So that's one thing that I think is going to shock a lot of people, the way that I go at this. From the very first second of this fight, I'm going to go like I always do. And the first opportunity I get, I will finish this fight. And my honest prediction, there's no way we're going to championship round in this fight. There's no way we will see the championship rounds.
Is it your understanding that after 297, the winner will fight Khamzat Chimaev? Like what do you sort of think is going to happen with the division? Because I know you're not looking past things, but I'm sure you're also paying attention to what's happening in the division.
Yeah. Of course, I think the UFC is probably going to want to do Khamzat. He's a big draw. And, they said if he wins this fight against Usman, that he will get a title shot. But, if that's a fight, I would gladly, as champion, take out the boogeyman. it would be a massive pleasure. I think that's probably what they're going to want to be doing. And we'll see if it plays out that way. But, like you said, for now, I have one target, and that target is Sean Strickland.
How does your style match up against Chimaev from what you saw of him at middleweight against a pretty formidable opponent? I know Usman's a welterweight, but still a great opponent.
He's going to try and take me down, and he should. And I don't think he realizes the power difference between 170 and 185. And in terms of style, he tries to outpower everybody he fights because he wants to show how strong he is. If he fights me and he fights that way, he's going to find out what strength really feels like.
Love it. What do you make of Israel Adesanya stepping away for a little bit? I know there's some stuff going into his fight with Strickland. I know he got, I think it was the DUI and all that stuff. He's taken some time away. What was your reaction when you heard that?
Yeah, I mean, the man was active. That's one thing we can say about Adesanya. As a champion, he showed up. He didn't shy away from fights. He fought everybody, some people twice. He was very active as a champion, and no, I think he deserves some time away from the sport. I think he deserves. He said 2027. If he comes back in 2027, he's going to get hurt. He shouldn't do that. But taking some time off, maybe take a year off, that'll be good for him. That'll be good for him. I think he earned that. I think he, as a one of the best to ever do it in the middleweight division, he deserves. He deserves to take some time off. And right now, from as a person, I do not like Adesanya. Because obviously for obvious reasons, but as a fighter, as a martial artist to another martial artist, a guy that I know, he also embodies the martial artist way. He needs to stay headstrong right now. He can't lose it. You can't lose it outside of the ring. You can't be as athletes, I don't think a lot of people realize the pressure that an athlete's under. But for now, he needs the right people around him. Not a lot of yes men. He needs the right people around him to keep him on track, and he doesn't need to stay focused right now, but he can't lose it.
What did you make of Islam Makhachev knocking out Volkanovski? I know we're a couple weeks removed. That was a pretty incredible the way that all worked out with Volkanovski stepping up and then Islam finishing him in the first round.
Oh wow! I mean, firstly, obviously, Volk hasn't been a guy that really gave me any shot. Always when people ask him to predict my fights, but who did? I'm a massive fan. I think he's an incredible fighter. Obviously against Ilia Topuria, good friend of mine. We fought on the same card, our debuts, and we fought on the same card. We had the same trajectory to the title. So I'm 100% backing Ilia Topuria in that fight. But Volk just stepping up on the short notice and taking that opportunity. I mean, what a badass. That is so badass against the pound for pound #1 fighter in the world. That is so badass. And he rolled the dice and it didn't work out for him on the night. But and for just Islam Makhachev, I wasn't really a fan of Islam Makhachev. Just the style of the way he fights. I always thought it was it wasn't. I didn't like to watch it. And now I have to take back my words and eat my hat because the man is so good. And the way he just went out there and he knocked out Volk, that was incredible.
Speaking of incredible, I liked your interview with MMA Guru. I thought that was really cool. You went on and you guys did kind of the back and forth. And one thing I'll give Guru credit for, he was kind of telling the other side of the story in terms of how the media coverage was going with some of the stuff with you. How was it being on with them?
Oh, that was incredible. I think, I inboxed him a while ago just to say thank you for the way he managed that, because you never see that. A lot of media like to give out the popular opinion, and what he did was he didn't do that. He went after the truth, and it was cool to see. And it's for us as athletes, you're always either getting praised or you're under scrutiny. That's the way it works. And once you get some true reporting, it's really cool to see. It's cool to see that somebody goes out of their way to report and get the truth out there. It was cool to see, and it was great to talk to him. I think he's coming to South Africa in December. So we'll definitely meet up and maybe do something at the gym. Yeah, it was great.
My last question, I know we gone way over time here. Just to confirm, you're not engaged, right? I saw those photos in Paris, just confirming that you're still a single man.
Yeah, I'm still a single man. I said no. No, I'm just joking. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, I mean, obviously having a lot of fun, having the Rugby World Cup final there in Paris. It was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. And just a couple of friends fooling around us. It's just...
did anyone actually, like, for a sec? I think most people knowing you were joking around, but was there anyone out there who actually thought, like, hey?
Yeah, I mean, internationally, quite a few people went like, "What? Dricus Du Plessis gay? Is Dricus Du Plessis engaged? What is happening?" And I went, no, nobody in South Africa obviously took it seriously because and especially people knowing me, we're just screwing around and having fun, but I don't look into that. What people are going to say, but yeah, I mean, there was some people who took it really seriously, but I mean, what can you do?
Thanks so much for the time, Dricus. Looking forward to the fight, UFC 297, January 20th. If there's anyone you want to thank, sponsors, social media, anything like that, I'll give you the last word.
Just thank you for all the fans. Thank you for all the people that they played a massive role in me getting this title fight. People That's what the UFC is about, is, the fans. The fans are the people that makes this worth the while. Without them, we don't have a sport. And, they stood up for what was right and the way that it should be. They knew I deserved to start a shot and they rallied for it. And it's absolutely incredible to see worldwide people that, they have no business in rooting for me and sticking up for me, but they did. And it's incredible to see. Thank you for all the support, the constant growing support. And, just like every other time, I will shock the world, and I am becoming the new middleweight champion of the world.